Hey, Justin Chamness here, realestatewholesalerclub.com, and I am here today with a special treat for you from PropStream and from our friend over there, Burton Alacondo. He stopped by to show me exactly how I can find multiple pain points. And guys, that's huge when you're looking for motivated homeowners to find multiple pain points. It's not enough to just have one. If you had 2 or 3 reasons why this person might be in a motivated state wanting to sell, that's even a better list. As he and I dive into PropStream and he shows you and me exactly how to find the right pain points that will work for your real estate business this year. Okay, there is a 7-day free trial for PropStream in the description of the video, but let me stop talking and let's just jump right into what you want to see.
The thing about data is the moment you buy a list from us or anybody, that list is static, right? Let's take off computers, right? We go to the county. Hey, clerk, I'd like to get your pre-foreclosure list. Well, here's 315 properties. Okay, we're going to run back home with that list. The next morning, 5 of those properties could call an agent and we're not going to know because it's a piece of paper. It's not updating, right? That piece of paper is not going to say, hey, remove us 5. It doesn't do that. The only way for us to know is we would have to go back to the county the same day or the next day and ask for the new list. And we would discover, oh, there's 5 less today, right? So we don't do that because it's not cost effective. It's not time effective. And that's what we call the churn and burn behavior. This is what everybody's been doing for a long time, okay? They would go to a source, get the 500 pre-foreclosures. Let's say this is January 1st.
Yeah.
Get the pre-foreclosures on January 1st. And then what we would do is then start marketing to those 500 properties for a certain amount of time. Now, everybody has a different time limit, right?
Right.
So they say on average 6 waves of marketing. That could be anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks to sometimes 3 to 4 months, right? So the issue is you build a list on January 1st and you send the 500 postcards in January, 500 postcards in February, 500 postcards in March, 500 postcards in April. And then you say, wow, this list is really old now. Let's go ahead and dump it, right? Churn and burn. You set it aside. And what you do is you go back to the source and you build the same lists with the same filters. And what you believe are new records are in fact 60% of them the same records from your first list, right? So you're repaying for the same list. What we decided to do is put an end to that. When you search a market and build whatever filter it is and save that list, we're going to send it into your My Properties page. And once we do, when you click on your list or click on any list for that matter, you're going to be able to click on View List Filters here on the far right and see what the filters were when you performed that list, right? So we can see what we did here. If I clicked on my Senior San Diego list, I can see the filters I had. Now, this is important for 2 reasons. To remind myself what the filters are, because I always forget, right? So it's good for me to remind myself what these 17 filters are. But the reason we did that, not to remind you, but for this feature right here, to automate it. Now that we know that you search in Escambia, Florida, and you wanted senior owners out of state, off market, well, let us just take care of that list for you. List Automator will now, going forward, when new properties match your exact search criteria. So anytime we do an update in Escambia and something matches this filter, let's go ahead and just add it to the list. In theory, you never have to search again, right? You build whatever your list is and now just add the new records to this list. So today we have 315. Tomorrow I log in, it could say 317 because 2 properties were automatically added without me having to do that. And if you scroll to the very far right, we're going to show you the date it was added. So today it's the 23rd. So all these properties were added today, but if any were added tomorrow, we would say 2 or 3 that say 124. Right? So this is brilliant. Going forward, we can now add properties to those lists that meet your criteria or add it to another list. This is very popular right now what people are doing with add to another list is before they automate it, they'll go over here and they'll create a blank one, this plus sign right here. And what they'll do is they'll call it Justin's senior list, and they'll call it, let's say, February. Hope you guys are getting what I'm about to do right now.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll create a blank list and say, okay, this senior list that we created, I want you to automate it, but all the new records, put it in my February list. So while me and Justin are working on these 315 properties for the month of January, come February 1st, our February list will have new records waiting for us to start working on. So we automatically segregated or partition our new marketing list, right? So that's the add to another list. And the last but popular option is I'll do it myself. And what we'll do is we'll give you a green box here at the top, and you can either look at them and stare at them until your face turns blue. You can delete them. You can ignore them. Really up to you. But that's not why we created List Automator. Now, trust me, to be able to never search again and us add records for you automatically is time saving. And as they say, time is money. But that's not why we created it. Our sole purpose of List Automator was to see how we can save you money. And when we discovered that churn and burn behavior, we decided to go after that impossible task. And we figured it out. The impossible task is to keep running your filters every single second. And when new properties change from your exact search criteria, so if any of these 315 properties no longer meet that senior owner filter, then get them out of this list automatically. Just delete them or move it to another list. And again, what people are doing here, I think is clever, is they'll create a blank list, Justin Senior owners list or owners follow-up list. So instead of just deleting it normally, if any of these properties no longer match this criteria, what I like you to do is I'd like you, well, first off, I want the new records to go into the February list, but any old records, so any of these 315 properties that don't meet my criteria anymore, instead of deleting them, move them into my follow-up list. So that way I can do one more follow-up with them before I completely delete them. So List Automator allowed me to take this one marketing list and segregate new records into a February list and old records into a follow-up list, meaning that main list is always up to date every single day, right? And so that's what List Automator is. And the very last option for the property changes is I'll do it myself. So here's what it does. You build a list with certain filters, and then you automate the things that are coming in and the things that are coming out. And when you save it, we will take your marketing list and dump it into the automated list area. So right now, Justin's senior owners list is being monitored from on a daily basis going forward. Now, right now, there should not be any changes. We literally just created this list a few moments ago. But as you can see, I have more than one list in here. So let's click on my Dallas landlord list of 835 people. This is what List Automator does. I have the rules set to I'll do it myself. So I created this list of 835 properties on August 29th of 2020. We're about 5 months ago, right? In that 5-month time frame, the filters that I have here, there have been 85 properties that have hit our system since then that I have not added to this list. So I'm being told, hey, you have some new records that meet this elaborate search criteria. So I never have to do the search again. So what I can do now is take these 85 records and add them to a new marketing list or delete them, right? So I can say, okay, well, let's call this my Dallas landlord list, landlords 2021, and then delete them from that list there. So again, I didn't have to go back to the search page and type in Dallas and all these filters. Oh, sorry. So just add it up. You got to just add them there. So I didn't just delete or gone and do the search. I just said, oh, here's the list that's being automated. Oh, looks like my save limit is capped out. So I'm not able to save it to a list. I apologize. But what's going to happen is now I have the 85 that meet this criteria, but that's not the reason we created. It's this. Since you created the 835 properties in August of last year, there have been 146 of them inside of there that don't meet this criteria anymore. Now, here's the thing. If we didn't tell you about the removals and you knew this list was created in August, what do you think our instinct is knowing that this list is 5 months old now? delete it, right? We'd be like, hey, we don't need it. It's 5 months old, but not anymore. Now what I do is I just delete the 146, and what's remaining still holds true to that criteria. So you would have dumped this 800 list when there's still 689 properties till this very moment that meet that criteria. And so when you would go back to the source and buy that list again, and you get, let's say, 900 results, of your 900 results, 689 of them are still the ones that you were working with.
How wasteful. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. And so every list that's being monitored is now telling you what needs to be added and what needs to be removed. But that's the money saver, is the removals. That's the most important part. And let's just, again, look at the math here. If I'm being told 746 properties right this very moment need to be removed, that's, even if I get it at 10 cents, the skip tracing, that's $74 I just saved off just skip tracing marketing, right? If it was postcards, 44 cents, that's 328 cents of unnecessary postcards I would have sent if I didn't know I needed to remove them. This is why List Automator has become very revolutionary, because now you build a list and you automate it, and you never have to search that filter again because we're adding the records for you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about that list having records that don't match your criteria because we removed them for you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the list stacking that Justin was mentioning, the other version of it. The other version of list stacking is by clicking on a list of yours, like my imported list or Justin's list that we clicked on, and going to the very far right and looking at this column that says marketing lists. This column will show you if any of your addresses are in more than one marketing list. And if you click on that number, you can see all the property, or the marketing list that property is in. So this property is in my lien list that I created in October, and it's also in my lien list that I had created in January a few days ago. So if I wanted to look at a list that I've saved and say, hey, how many properties in this list are in 3 marketing lists? Here they are. Here are the properties that are in more than one marketing list, AKA list stacking, right? This is the other version of list stacking. The first version is creating a list with multiple list stacking. And then this version of list stacking is, hey, how many marketing lists is Mary Louise Drive in? Oh, Mary Louise Drive is in these 3 categories, right? So now that I know there are how many, now that I know there are these properties, a total of 11 properties in more than one marketing list, well, maybe I should check off these properties and call it and build a new list with it. I'll call it the multiple marketing list leads. Okay. And then delete them from this list or whatever list. So what I was able to do is look at a marketing list and say, okay, how many properties are in here that are also in multiple lists? Take those properties and create a new list with them. Because I think if you were to ask me, because these 11 properties are in more than one category, they're probably people that you need to speak to first before you speak to that person that's only in one category, right?
Yeah.
The goal has been achieved as long as I got your mind thinking about data. Fine. Job done today for me. But guys, that's the list automation part. Again, it is an add-on. It's not something that comes with PropStream. I'll be the first to say I don't believe it's for everybody, but if you do take the time to learn it, you can see how very lucrative it can be, especially to know, especially when you're dealing with thousands to know what needs to be removed because it's now on market or it just sold to a different investor. That to me is the reason, again, why we saved it. We're all about trying to save you money, so just the removal part is important.
And if you want to suffocate your local market or whatever they say, man, this is how you get it done. And I mean, you might not have all this set up the way you want it in the next 2 hours, but over the next little bit in your business, you can know your market like nobody, really, I think, with this tool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's it. So that's our list automation and the data part. Again, guys, we have the details. So if any of these senior owners were to call us, remember, you can click on them and you can look at the data. You can see the mortgage information that they have, their transaction history, any other properties that they have tied to their name, tax information, any encumbrances, but inevitably it all leads to, in my book, it all comes to an end, after talking to them about how old their property is and, they just bought it or whatever the case is. this is the last part, is where we can show you the comparables, all the properties that sold on public record, all the properties that sold through the MLS or used both public records and MLS. And something very, very new is flipped comps. So our team got really clever and said, hey, you know what? What if we could find the flippers that flip the property around that subject property?
Okay, I hope that helped, guys. Get busy out there doing this stuff. Make a plan to dive into your local market or into a market somewhere and pick a couple good 2 or 3 pain points. And man, there's lots of good ones on there. I love the liens. Okay, the liens, there's child support liens, there's utility liens, there's all kinds of liens, on and on. Guys, they've really, really dialed in for us over there at PropStream. So check it out. There's a link in the description for a 7-day free trial. Go ahead and click that, try it out, see what you think. You will agree with me, though, I believe, by the end of the free trial, that PropStream is the best data engine for real estate people anywhere. Okay, if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't use it every single day of my life. All right, guys, love you. I'll see you later. RealestateWholesalerSclub.com. Get your shut up money.
No more questions.